Developing new products is a very complex process. This is why in software companies, teams usually have what is known as product development cycle. That it's a tool that helps them to make sure that what they are building, what they are planning is as much as possible something that is going to be successful. And even in this case, they still fail in a relatively high ratio. So let's go through what are, from my point of view, the key areas of a software development cycle or a product development cycle. So this is not necessarily just for software development. If you are developing any product, this should be valuable for you as well. But what are the areas that are going to have you have higher chances to succeed when you're planning and when you're developing your products? Let's go through them. The first phase that you're going to have is what is known as product discovery. Here, what you want to identify is what is the problem that you want to solve. Usually this is divided in two phases. One, product discovery. Here you had to research what is the problem that you want to solve, what is the extent of this problem. So there might be similar and adjacent problems that when you start your research, you are going to find out. Your customers are going to have slightly similar problems, but there are going to be differences for them. So think, for example, why would you buy a pair of, let's say, sneakers? Are you going to use them for running? Are you going to use them for weightlifting? What is the goal of what you are doing? What is the problem? What you are trying to solve when you are buying that pair of sneakers? Defining these problems will help you identify what type of product you should be building. Understanding then the market, understanding which ones are potentially the areas or how wide this problem is, what usually is known as total addressable market. How many people out there do I think I could be reaching out with my pair of sneakers? My pair of sneakers are not going to be valid for everybody that wants to do any kind of sports. Once I understand this better, I will have then an understanding of what are the different problems that I could be solving. I could be creating sneakers for people doing CrossFit, sneakers for people that go running. There's many different types of running, by the way. So there might be different types of sneakers that those people are going to need. Really diving deeper into the problem is going to give you an understanding of what are the different options for you to try to tackle. Once you have defined these, you have to then converge and you have to decide which one is the problem that I'm really going to be addressing and what potentially is that need that I'm going to try to be fulfilling. I'm trying to build my solution for. So let's say that I'm just going to concentrate for sneakers for people that are, let's say, running sprints. So how do you do this in practice, and what is important to do during this discovery of the problem? Here you have to do several things. You have to work with your team. You have to make sure that you have a team. Usually the people that are going to work in that team is a product manager, a product designer, and a software engineer, team lead, tech lead, somewhere of that. Somebody that is definitely a very senior software engineer. I'm talking more about software products, obviously, because this is what we talk about in this channel. At this point, what you want to identify is the problem. Usually these people, because they have been in the company for a while and working with you for a while, in most of the cases, except if you're a startup with a new team, they will have a relatively good understanding of that industry, of that customer base that you are trying to tackle, and they can bring a better understanding of what that problem is. You also want to talk with your prospects. You don't want to just stick to your internal team, no matter their expertise. Yes, it's important that they are experts, but you want to talk with those prospects because in the end, the prospects are the ones that are going to help you validate that that problem exists and that potentially paying for a product solution is going to be something that they are willing to do. Now we will continue the discovery of the product, but we are moving towards the solution discovery. We want to now try to identify what are the different solutions that we can be building to make sure that we are building that product that is perfect for the people that had that problem. So in our case, building those sneakers for people that are running and sprinting, not running, sprinting probably. So again, what you want to do here is, again, you want to have like an expansive mindset that you want to make sure that you are open to any possibilities of how to solve this problem. What are the best options that you want to be building in order to build that solution that is going to work for your customers? You want to make sure that you try not to just think or copy what the competitors have done in the past, but just try to start from a blank slate as much as you can. How can you do this? You can run internal workshops with that trio that I talked about it earlier. So a product manager, a product designer, and a software engineer. If you don't have those people, get the people that potentially are going to be closest to these roles, that are going to potentially have the best knowledge of the market, the business, and the potential ways of developing the technologies, and also the point of view of how to build products that are usable and that can be loved by the users. You can also include as part of these workshops, as part of these brainstorming sessions, your customers. They can bring new ideas of how you could build this or how you could solve this problem. Once you have a ton of ideas of how to solve the problem, you again want to converge. You want to identify which ones are the potential ideas that probably are going to be the better suited for me to solve that problem that I defined earlier. Here, I have different tools that are going to help me to do this. So building MVPs, building mockups, building prototypes. If you don't know what an MVP is, a minimum viable product. We're not talking about sports here. Again, here it's very important that you collaborate internally with the product trio, but also with your potential customers. In a company, and depending on the type of company you are in, there might be internal experts that might have a very good understanding of the industry, of the problem, that might bring that point of view, or that different point of view that maybe that trio of experts might not have, and might help you developing the solutions. Once you have defined your solution, here it comes what is most known as the product development cycle. Now you have to sit down and plan. You have to sit down and create roadmaps. What are the features that this product is going to have? What is the scope of the features? What problems these features on their own are solving, how they are solving it, and who are they for? All this you have to start laying out. You have to make sure that you are able to build some kind of a roadmap. I'm not talking about necessarily the old Gantt-like type of roadmaps, but anything that works, that is going to help you to track the progress, that is going to help you create a backlog of different activities, of different development that you have to do in order to build that solution. Not talking about agile, not talking about waterfall. Choose your poison here. Something that starts to enter when you are going into the development, and something that has not happened previously, is that you had to start paying attention to product quality. You had to start paying attention of what you are building, and that you are building in a way that is reliable, that when the users start using it, it's not breaking, there's no problems, there's no bugs, at least to the level that you can control. And yes, it's true that the first versions will probably still have bugs, and you will probably have to compromise to a certain level, but definitely you have to start paying attention to that product quality. Here again, you have to continue working very heavily with your customers. Why and how? Why? Because you want to make sure that what you are actually now building for them is something that is going to address their needs, and something that is going to be usable, that it's really solving their problem. Yes, you can validate, and you should validate that with the earlier MVPs and prototypes, but probably your audience at that point is going to be more limited, and now you are really trying to build the product itself. But you also want to scope the development in a way that it's incremental, so you can actually work with those customers and getting feedback as you are building more and more capabilities into your product. And again, here it's very important that you don't only work now with your product trio. Now you have to start involving other teams. And something that I think that works pretty well is that once you are starting to lay out those roadmaps, is to start to bring in people that are going to be working in other parts of the product, but are not necessarily working developing the product or planning the product itself. So here I'm thinking about people like product marketing who are going to be looking into how to promote the product, how people in the outside world are going to discover and be aware of the solutions that you are creating to solve specific problems. You had to work with them because they had to plan their work. They also have to do their own discovery. They also have to do their own research, their own planning and their own roadmaps to be able to deliver those plans, those promotions. This applies also to other teams, like potentially sales enablement, support teams, even your sales teams. So they understand that this is why we are working. When I'm talking with customers, I had to have in mind that, hey, maybe I'm not having now the product that is the correct one, but now I know that something is being built for them in the future that could address the problem. So maybe they are not a good potential customer now, but they are a good potential customer in the future. That helps them also planning their job. And yes, probably they should not be selling the product based on the features that you're building in the future or the products that you're building in the future, but that's a different discussion for a different video. I even believe that I have a video here. I'll link it up there. So when we're thinking about product delivery, we are looking into different topics. First, we are looking into something like release management, how we are going to be releasing the product. So when we are thinking about product delivery, don't think or don't get too caught up about the big bang product releases that we are used to. So for example, think about the events that Apple does, CES that just happened now with all the big announcements of products that are coming. That's part of product delivery and part of the release process of a product. But you can think first on, do you want to do smaller releases? Do you want to start with something like an alpha release, even when the product is not very ready and you release just to a handful of potential customers to start getting early feedback? You also can do like a beta testing, which is typically a wider audience of customers that are quite loyal to you and that they understand what products you are building and that they would like to be involved. You also can do something like an A/B testing where you release your product, especially for cloud products, is very suitable. You release your product maybe to just a certain segment and see how they react. You can do it by geography, you can do it by different industries, whatever are the kind of cohorts that you are building for your customers. Then you analyze the data, you see if it's successful. If it's successful, you are good to go potentially with the rest of the areas where you want to sell. And if you had to tweak the product before you move forward and release it, you have the time to plan and to work on it. And by the way, these are things that these product releases or this continuous involvement of the customers, you need to wait for you to do it in the product delivery. When you are thinking about releasing a new version of the product, you can do this as part of your product development, where you have customers involved from the get-go, from the very beginning, where you are actually giving them versions that they can test, that can give you feedback on what you're building. Now, what is very important is that you are ensuring the product quality of what you're building. At least you have to understand what is the quality that you want to build up to. It might be that you cannot afford to build the perfect product, that you know that there's going to be some problems and that you will fix them and iron them later. The more you let your customers know about those potential problems, the better. If you build something that is still or really something that is an experimental phase, please let know your customers because they will appreciate it. Otherwise, they will bump into issues. They will think that it's ready, but it's not. And that's going to be probably problems for you and the perception that your customers have in you, which many times can break trust. So careful how you are explaining this and how you are defining the quality of your product. In any case, it is great that you have some kind of traffic light systems that is going to help you understand that, hey, is the code or the product up to the quality that it should be? Is it matching what we think that it should be? The performance, are the features actually accomplishing what they were defined to accomplish? Am I introducing regression or bugs into the existing functionality that theoretically I had not been touching here? But you never know. There's always surprises when you're coding, especially. So make sure that you have that defined. Make sure that you have some level of quality that you know that you want to achieve, and make sure that you also communicate to your customers if you know already that some things are not going to be work as potentially they will work in the future. Here you are going to also do your go-to-market I'm not going to go into the details of go-to-market. There's a ton of activities that go there, but you are going to do things like promotion. You are going to see how you're going to do your sales activities, potentially your pricing. If you want to understand more what go-to-market is, I have a video. Go check it out. And the final stage that you are going to have for the product development cycle is that you want to build a feedback loop. You want to be able to gather understanding of how this product is being adopted by the users, whether it's a new product or new additions into an existing product. You had to have like the telemetry, the measurement, the analytics, the data to understand that how people are adopting or how people are interacting with your product. You also want to make sure that you talk with certain customers. You can do that as part of the beta testing or the A/B testing, talk with customers, get their feedback, but also part of the release. Send surveys to most of your customers or the big audience or chunk of your customers so you can get more feedback about this new product, this new functionality that you have been building potentially in your existing product. This is going to help you validate together with the data that people are adopting the product and actually they are getting the solutions that they need to get. If they are not, you have to start then planning how you are going to optimize those solutions. It might be that your solution is completely wrong, then you are back in the drawing board. And this is why you have to have all this discovery work, this collaboration with customers, because if you had done that, the likelihood of you having to go back to the drawing board is much less because you already have had those touch points with potential customers. So what are the keys to succeed in this product development cycle? Well, first of all, you have to make sure that you are open, that you trust your team, that you collaborate, and that your team has ownership and accountability of the processes, the different steps of this product development cycle. Second is collaboration, especially within this product trio. If this product trio is not working, if they cannot work together to find those solutions, to work together to really build them together and make sure that what they are building is something that is addressing those customer needs and in a way that is going to work for the customer, is going to work for like the development team, and that customers are going to love. This is the key to succeed. If you don't have this working, most likely your chances to succeed are going to be much reduced. And finally, you have to make sure that you're involving your customers. If you're not involving your customers, if you're not validating with them what you're building, the problems that they have, the chances are that you are probably building the wrong thing. So work with your customers, make sure that you get them involved, make sure, your prospects can be as well. Make sure that you have them together with you in this journey. That is going to up your chances for success much more. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to know more about what product development is, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one. And remember, stay safe.